This is the review you've all been waiting for. Not The Dark Knight, not Batman v Superman, but the Lego Batman. Okay, that was my Batman impression, but this is Movie Critic Rob here, and I'd like to welcome you to my non-spoiler review for the Lego Batman movie. I just actually got out of seeing it, and actually, if you didn't know this, I think most of you didn't, I had not seen the Lego movie until, I think, the day before yesterday. Yeah, I never really got to sit down and watch it, and I was able to get the digital copy for free a few days ago, and finally sat down to watch it, although I watched it on FX. Anyway, what did I think about the Lego movie? Just my brief thoughts really quick before I jump into this new movie by the same creator as Warner Brothers, the Lego Batman movie. I thought the Lego movie was inventive. I thought it was fun. I liked the cast, especially Chris Pratt, and I liked that they had Batman in it, and they brought back Will Arnett for this next installment, which I'm going to be talking about, which is the Lego Batman. The movie, right from the beginning, it's funny because right from the beginning, I got a Deadpool vibe, and I think a lot of you, if you watch the movie and you're a fan of Batman, you're definitely going to get that vibe all throughout the movie because it's irreverent and it's self-referential to all the Batman stories that have come before, specifically those in TV and movies. And I like that about this movie. I like that even from the beginning, it was kind of throwing shade at everything. Like the movie starts, every important movie that you've ever seen starts in black. And I was like, oh, this is great. And I knew I was in for a fun ride. A lot of people, and I read some reviews about this movie going in, and a lot of people were talking about how there was too much in the movie. And the movie is, I think, it's less than 2 hours. It's about 20 to 10 minutes less than a full 2-hour feature, because it's an animated movie, so they want to, make sure that kids can sit through it and not have to go to the bathroom too many times, so on. But I didn't feel that it was overstuffed at all because everything was given its place in the movie. I don't want to give too much away because, all you really see from the trailers, which I like that it was minimalistic, was you saw Batman and a little bit of Joker, and that was pretty much it. It was mainly focusing on this new Batman played by Will Arnett, voiced by Will Arnett, in this world, because in the Lego movie you really only got to see him in the context of Emmett and the other characters in that movie, but this one is really more exploring his life, his Batcave, his whole Bat life. And Alfred is in there, and all the people you would expect to be in there. I think Robin was featured in the trailers, and I'm not going to talk about anything else other than what was in the trailers because a lot of people watch trailers. And I want you to enjoy this movie for yourself. But know that it is really self-referential, and it's one of those movies where it was mentioned in another review that I saw for this. If you blink, you'll miss a reference. It's that quick. It just boom, 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 rapid fire. And I think I caught every single one. I'm not sure, and it's going to be one of those movies like Deadpool where you have to go back and see it again and see it again to get all of the jokes because there's a ton in there, and they all work because Batman has been around, the movie makes reference to this, for 78 years. Not only, Joker's been around for 78 years. Batman's been around for a little bit longer. And there's a lot there to draw from in terms of themes, in terms of music, in terms of how the character's been portrayed, who he's been portrayed alongside, like his villains gallery, which for Batman is a vast gallery. And that's one of the things they also make fun of is just the absurdity of the villains in his gallery, which they actually show some that are more obscure. And it was hilarious to see these villains that they make sense in a kid's comic book, but outside in a movie, even a Lego movie, it's like, this is so absurd, but it's funny, and that's what this movie aims to be. It is a comedy. It's not a self-serious movie, which Batman always is in a self-serious movie. Like the Dark Knight trilogy, which I love the Dark Knight trilogy, but it's a serious movie, and as it should be, because it's Batman. And the same with Batman v Superman. Although, you know, we all have our gripes about the movie, I'm learning to appreciate it more and more the more I watch it. But even, yeah, it's poorly executed, and yes, Batman v Superman is the butt of a lot of the jokes in the Lego Batman movie, and I think it's warranted. And I think that at this point in the Bat history, Batman v Superman has cemented itself where it is, and that's not necessarily a bad thing because we learn from our mistakes. It's funny because this movie even rips on a lot of the other DC properties, not just Batman v Superman, and I thought that was incredibly hilarious that this movie is that irreverent with its property and the properties around it and the entire DC universe, as it were. One of the funny things about this movie is that it includes more villains than just the Batman villains. And I'm not going to go and list them off because I don't want to do that. I want you to see who is in the movie and who isn't. But it gets like hilariously absurd, but it's great because you see Batman going up against these absolute titans that, you know, it's like, how can Batman ever overcome these villains? And I like where they went because the entire movie is centered on Batman's obsession, you know, because I work alone, you know, and his learning to have to work with other people and be with other people when he really just wants to be by himself, which was a great emotional core for this movie because, and it's a great lesson for kids too, that, you know, you can't always do everything by yourself. Sometimes you need a little help. But I like where this movie went because it really, going off of the Lego movie, which portrayed Batman as an absolute jerk, which, let's be honest, if we met Batman in real life, his persona would be a narcissistic jerk. He's cool, but he's a narcissistic jerk, just like Iron Man is. But they use that characteristic, which a lot of movies haven't given too much of a deep dive into because they're so focused on, you know, the crime fighting and the duality. But even still, they don't focus on that part of him, which is, if you met Batman, if a normal person were to meet Batman in real life, and I know the Dark Knight trilogy does this a little bit where they interplay with like just other people's, like homeless people and things interplay, but he would be a jerk. And I like that this one was especially jerky. And again, going off of the Lego movie, which cemented that, I like that they kind of did something with that they had already built on in the Lego movie and used that as the core for the movie. Batman is always about dealing with the loss of his parents, and that's why he does what he does. And I was surprised to find myself just being given this great psychoanalysis of the Batman in a Lego Batman movie. It was really good in that aspect of breaking down that part of the character that you don't see because it's in a unique medium of it being a more kid-friendly movie and having to, you know, children's movies, unless you're the Angry Birds movie, tend to give you a lesson that they throw in there. And I'm not knocking Angry Birds movie. I haven't seen it even, but I've heard so much about it. That it benefited from that part of Batman's persona being cast into that light and then using that as the crux of the entire story. Thank God that we don't actually get the Wayne murder again via Legos, because that's overkill at this point. You don't need to know that. Everybody knows that at this point, and if you don't, go and watch Batman 1989, Batman v Superman, Batman Begins, and so, you know, there's a pantheon of movies or the comics issues that you can go and see if you want to see the Waynes get killed. But they do address the Wayne family, Thomas and Martha Wayne, and their deaths in this movie while not actually showing you that, which I thought was a stroke of genius, which is they do another live-action Batman movie, even though that's kind of really up in the air right now. I would like to see that approach of him dealing with it and showing us the loss and the pain that he feels through him looking at the picture or him thinking about a memory rather than seeing the pearls I think that's over and done with, and it's just why would you beat on a dead horse like that? I'm not saying that the Waynes are dead horses, okay? But I thought it was great. The only thing the pace was good. I love the pace. I love the music. I thought it was fun, and it kind of, because of its self-referential nature, even the music kind of referenced the other movies, because it really gives you like the Dark Knight feel at the beginning, because it kind of has a similar opening to the Dark Knight. Kind of, not exactly, because it doesn't really do exactly what Dark Knight does. It's not a complete copy, but it has that vibe, and they give you that music, which is a lot similar to the music that is at the beginning, in that heist scene at the beginning. And there's a lot of other cues, like the na 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 na, that are orchestrated, and it works. And I was like, oh wow, it actually is cool that they did it the way that they did, but it works. And I like that they used every bit of at least the more visual mediums of Batman to their advantage. And I mean everything, the costumes, the vehicles, the everything. And it's one of those movies, again, like Deadpool, it's a blink and you'll miss it kind of a movie, where they're throwing references at you left and right, left and right, left and right. Even in the background, I found myself scanning the background for things, and I found stuff, and I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I was like, what? This movie's throwing so much, but it's so good because it has that rewatchability thing that a lot of movies lack nowadays, where you have to go back because you want to see more of the references that maybe you didn't catch on the first go around. And there are a ton in this movie. I thought Will Arnett did a fantastic job, and I thought everybody else that was in the movie, I think Ralph Fiennes did Alfred, and it was amazing. He did a great job. If it was Ralph Fiennes, I don't know, and I want to find out. But everybody that was in this movie did a fantastic job with the characters that they were given. The only gripe I can find about this movie is, as far as characters are concerned, is the Joker. Now, that's not to say he's bad, because it's not bad, and I think Zach Galifianakis, who played the Joker, did a fantastic job with the role. But I don't know, there was a blandness to it. It didn't have the grit of Ledger, and I didn't expect it to, but it didn't have the comedic quality of Mark Hamill. And it just kind of, it really didn't do anything else. It was just, I'm Joker, like, no, okay, yeah, you are, because I see you, but are you? And that's not to say he did a bad job, because I think that, I don't know, it's kind of a weird role to judge, because of course, this is a titan of a role, cinematically speaking. That has been played by the greats, to some to great effect and some to not so great effect. So yeah, it's kind of hard to judge Zach Galifianakis' portrayal here, because it was just kind of bland. As far, again, my opinion, it was kind of bland. Although he does give us some great emotional moments, which is kind of cool. That Joker is the one who gives us the emotional moments sometimes in a Batman movie, but he does. And because it's a Lego movie and it's an animated movie, to kid, well, not animated because animated's not a genre, but a kids movie, it works. And I just checked, Ralph Fiennes actually did do the voice of Alfred Pennyworth, and I thought he did a fantastic job with the role. It really, I got a Michael Caine vibe from him, where it was very fatherly, but he had these moments of very sternness, But it was a great role, and I thought that he did a great job. I mean, Ralph Fiennes, come on. Like I said, Will Arnett did a fantastic job, and Robin was a fun character in this movie, in the Lego Batman movie. I think that they used the character really well, because he's kind of at the center of the entire emotional aspect of the movie. He's actually played by Michael Cera, which I don't like Michael Cera that much, but in this movie he works, and it's really fun to see him as the wide-eyed individual. you know, because he's experiencing all these things, and it's kind of the origin of that, which you kind of see in Batman Forever a little bit. But I like what they do with it here. And again, it's all servicing that story and that theme of Batman working with other people, which he really doesn't like to do if you read the comics. I mean, yeah, he does. He takes on the Robins and things like that. But he's really about, especially in the later stuff, and in the movies, of course, which is more of what's referenced in the Lego Batman movie, he's working alone. And he doesn't really take on Robins. But here he does, and I like what they do with it. So that's really all I have to say about the movie. I think the movie was a blast, and I really want to go see it again right now because it was really, really fun. And like I said, there's a bunch of things that I haven't caught. I didn't want to give anything away as far as spoilers, and I don't think I have. I just gave away what's in the trailers and kind of, you know, giving themes of the story, but not really how they execute it. Because I want you guys to go in this movie absolutely fresh, and be able to enjoy this movie because there is a lot of enjoyment to be had here. It's a great movie, a great dissection of the entire Bat mythos. Really well done. Again, another home run for Warner Brothers and the creative team behind these Lego movies. I know Ninjago is coming up next. I don't know about Ninjago, but honestly, with these two home runs, I'd really kind of want to go see it now. So good job. This has been Movie Critic Rob with the Movie Channel, and as always, now I'm signing off.